You guys are so sweet. Man, how inspiring it is to look out and see this. See so many people, so many young faces especially. Maybe the intention for us being here, of course the speakers on this stage, maybe the intention is for us to inspire you all, but I look out and it's this right here that inspires me. So thank you guys very, very much. Yeah. And of course, thank you to Turning Point for fostering this environment. I have had the pleasure the past 2 or so years to be on upwards of 80 to 100 campuses, college campuses and high school campuses. And so to see so many familiar faces too, thank you as students for being involved. Look, of course, I'm not here to deliver a political message, if you will, because the issues I talk about, they really shouldn't be political ones. But I will say, and I imagine many of you share the same sentiment that I do, the past 173 days or so, my pillows felt a little bit better at night. I sleep a little bit better. The air feels a little bit clearer. It really has been win after win after win with Donald Trump back in the White House. Under President Trump, we are finally seeing action, especially on the cultural front lines. This administration is pushing back and restoring sanity where the left tried desperately to sow confusion. Of course, on day one, Donald Trump signed an executive order declaring there are only 2 sexes, male and female. Isn't it crazy that a sitting president has to take time out of his day, has to exercise his executive authority, executive powers, and declare such? But I mean, maybe we shouldn't be too surprised, considering we have a sitting Supreme Court justice who can't even answer the question of what is a woman because she claims she's not a biologist. Guess what? I'm not a veterinarian, but I know what a dog is. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It was one of the most remarkable experiences. I got to be there standing beside the president as he signed this executive order barring men from participating in women's sports within any educational program that receives federal funds. And maybe some of you saw the clips or the images that surfaced following this signing. It was one of the most beautiful things because you have the president signing this EO surrounded by a sea of young girls. I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they've got their jerseys on or their uniforms. They've got their big bows in their hair that they wear on the soccer field. That visual means more to me than I could possibly put into words. And the Democrats that are pushing back, people like Gavin Newsom, people like Governor Mills of Maine, they think that they're giving the middle finger to Donald Trump. That's not what they're doing at all. They're giving the middle finger to those little girls who were there to attend this signing with the most joyous smiles on their faces. The Department of Education has made it very, very clear now that Title IX protections are intended to prevent sex-based discrimination, not discrimination on the basis of gender identity, period. That means that girls don't go in boys' locker rooms and vice versa. It means that boys don't go into girls' sports and vice versa. We're seeing DEI bureaucracies dismantled, woke nonsense being defunded in our military, and healthcare, and corporate America, and the media realm, and academia. Real accountability is finally being returned to our institutions. We saw a huge win on that front just this week with the announcement from University of Pennsylvania. Again, this has been one of the biggest perpetrators. University of Pennsylvania has been one of the biggest perpetrators in the abuse and the mistreatment and the emotional blackmail of women over the past few years. But because of President Trump, because of how he flexed the fact that he will withhold $175 million from this institution, which maybe, I guess, is enough to make anyone find their spine, UPenn was willing to come to the table and say, look, we will abide by the law, again, that federal law being Title IX. We will reinstate and restore all records, titles, honors taken from deserving women by a mediocre man, and we will issue a personalized apology to every single woman who was impacted by our decision. We just found out that the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments this fall surrounding a Title IX case, which is huge. I can predict what we're going to see. I imagine we will see a 6-3 ruling. I believe the votes are there, with a scathing dissent written by these liberal justices. But I don't think, I want to make a point here. I don't think that these cultural wins that we have seen should be underscored, by the way. The wins, they're so much bigger than kicking boys off of a girls' team. Understand, our entire society falls apart if we do not know the difference between men and women and sanction the permanent and irreversible harm and sterilization of children. The cultural chaos that has plagued this country for far too long, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of speech and thought control waged on America by the left. It is foundational, these wins that we are seeing. They're wins for truth. Of course, they're wins for women. They're wins for children. They are wins for the American people, but they only happened because we pushed back. The people here in this room pushed back. We refused to be silent. And you know what's ironic? The left keeps insisting that Gen Z is theirs, that we're all just these mindless foot soldiers for progressive ideology. But here's what's been proven, and again, what I have seen when going on these campuses. More and more young people are waking up. We're not buying it anymore. We see the absurdity. We see how out of touch with reality the other side is. They tell us, be your authentic self, all while pushing hormone blockers onto kids, telling them that they were born in the wrong body. They tell us, trust the science, until that science says that men can't get pregnant. They tell us, they care about women. The Democratic Party, it's the party of and for women. But then they erase the very definition of the word itself. Gen Z, what I have seen, what I have experienced, truthfully, what I have felt, we're a generation that craves truth. We're desperate for it. We crave authenticity, freedom, not virtue signaling, not censorship, not social engineering. This generation isn't lost. We've just been lied to. But the American people, again, especially Gen Z, we're beginning to see through it all. So here's my clarion call to you guys. We cannot get comfortable. We cannot become complacent. It's almost inevitable, truthfully. Because success, again, the wins I've mentioned, success, it breeds complacency. But hear me when I say complacency breeds failure. It is the enemy to growth. It is the enemy to progress. We can't treat these victories like they're permanent. You know why? Because the left is relentless. They don't just roll over. They don't allow themselves to be steamrolled. No, they rear their heads and they gnash their teeth. They're already trying to roll it all back. They're pressuring judges. They're rewriting rules. They're flooding the culture with lies disguised as compassion, as empathy, as inclusivity. And if we check out now or allow ourselves to fester in these wins, if we stop fighting, they will undo everything that we in this room, that Turning Point USA, that President Trump has worked for. We are in a battle for reality itself, and we must fight like it, because this war on woke, it has not yet been won. Don't take it from me, take it from the people of Wisconsin, for that matter, where you have a Governor Evers, who in your state statute attempted to change the word mother. In a 1,000-page budget bill, which is exactly how these things go, by the way, attempted to change the word mother to inseminated persons. We've been called it all as women, as mothers, right? Like cervix havers, uterus owners, menstruators, bleeders, chest feeders, birthing people, like the list goes on. Inseminated persons takes the cake. There's not a whole lot more dehumanizing than that. That's like what you refer to cattle as. So I'm reading the red line of this bill, And immediately, of course, I stop in my tracks when I see the word mother crossed out and replaced with inseminated person. And the first word, or the first question that pops into my mind is, oh gosh, what are they going to change father to? Because, of course, the counterpart of inseminated persons would, I guess, be inseminator. But no, that's not what they changed father to. Father was changed to natural parent. Now tell me more specifically, there's not a war on women. This war on woke, it hasn't been won. So again, Gen Z, hear me when I say this. You're not crazy for thinking the world has temporarily lost its mind. You're not racist for wanting a strong and secure border, for seeing the value in that. You're not hateful for insisting that tampons don't belong in boys' bathrooms, contrary to what Tim Walz says. I know it can still feel like we are the minority, even with Donald Trump back in the White House, but we're not. We are the counterculture, and we have work to do. So speak up, show up, pay attention to what's happening, not just on the national stage, but what's happening locally. Keep Christ first. Don't just play defense. Go on offense. Build families. Build faith. Build the future. Again, too often I hear people say that we are the ones who are going to destroy America. It's Gen Z that's going to destroy America. I vehemently disagree with this. I believe it's the generation that came before us that ultimately failed us. I believe that Gen Z is going to save America. So let's prove those people wrong. Last thing that I want to speak pretty plainly about now that I'm 30 weeks pregnant, and will welcome a little girl into this world in just 2 months. Now that I feel her kicking around. Now that I've heard her heartbeat at that very first appointment. I've seen her little tiny hands, her little tiny feet. I've always been, to provide some clarity to this, I've always been pro-life. From the perspective of understanding we have a God who condemns the shedding of innocent blood and who breathes purpose into every life, whether in the womb or outside of the womb. That being said, being pregnant since conception, it has made me radically pro-life. It has made the thought, the idea of abortion hurt deeply and really viscerally. Abortion, it says that life in the womb is only valuable if it's wanted. Gender ideology says a woman is only a woman if she feels like one. Neither of these ideas recognize the inherent dignity, the design, and the worth that comes with being created male or female, or with carrying a child. And at the bottom, the heart of both of these lies, profiting from both of these lies, is Planned Parenthood. This organization is not a champion for women or for children as they claim to be. It's a business. It is a business that made just last year alone $1.9 billion in total revenue, receiving $792 million in taxpayer funds. That's money from you and me. We involuntarily funded this organization. Think about that. While families are struggling to afford groceries or gas, we're being forced to fund an organization that terminates nearly 400,000 babies every single year and pushes this radical gender ideology onto vulnerable children. Planned Parenthood, they claim to fight for reproductive health, healthcare freedom, that's what they say. Where was that healthcare freedom in 2021, by the way? No, these are the same tyrants who fired healthcare workers, who fired U.S. military members, who fired school teachers. But let's be honest, it's not healthcare what we're seeing, it's harm. They profit off of confusion, they profit off of fear, of pain, of vulnerability, of insecurity. They encourage minors to go on to puberty blockers, to get abortions, to sterilize their bodies, often without parental consent, little to no consultation, all under the guise of choice. But what kind of choice is it when it's rooted in a lie? When Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry tell women that their babies are just clumps of cells or just a lump of tissue, what they're doing is something far more sinister than lying. They are severing the natural connection between a mother and her child. They are normalizing violence against the most vulnerable and calling it a choice. But no mother that I know, no real advocate for women wants her empowerment to come at the cost of her own child's life. Again, what they're selling is not compassion. It's fear. It's convenience dressed up as freedom. It's a billion-dollar business that profits off of panic, vulnerability, and insecurity, not empowerment. As I said, in just a few short weeks, I'm bringing life into this world. A little girl, again, I've heard her heartbeat all the way back when when I was only 8 weeks along. I feel her move. Again, seeing her little tiny frame on the ultrasound, she at this point could be aborted at this stage of development, or raised to believe that she's not really a girl at all. And I'm not okay with that. I refuse to let her grow up in a world that tells her she has to apologize for being female, or to pretend that biology is bigotry, or that life only matters if it's convenient. The future that I want for her is one that is rooted in truth, where women are honored, not erased, where motherhood is celebrated, not treated like a burden, and where every human, no matter how small or dependent, is protected, not discarded. And by the way, many pro-lifers were hesitant to support President Trump, claiming that he wasn't pro-life enough. But you name me another president who has defunded one of the most sinister, profit-driven, murderous organizations this world has ever seen with the passage and the signage of the big, beautiful bill. Unfortunately, it was watered down to defund Planned Parenthood for only 1 year, as opposed to the proposed 10, meaning, of course, again, there is still work to do. But President Trump is the most pro-life president that we have seen in modern history. This moment that we're living in, it's not just a political moment, it's a moral one. These issues, the issues that I've been discussing, that have granted me the platform that I now have, it's not a matter of right versus left or red versus blue. It's about truth versus lies. It is life versus death. It is freedom versus fear. And the good news is that we are winning. But only if we stay bold, only if we stay awake, only if we stay united. They've tried desperately to cancel us, to silence us, to erase us, but we're still here. We're growing. We're just really getting started. And one more thing, actually, the last thing I will say, as I feel a sense of moral obligation, truthfully, again, given that I've been blessed with this platform that I have, largely for being a voice for the voiceless, those who are too fearful to use their own voice, this platform for protecting the most vulnerable, protecting children, protecting women. I want to say, number one, I serve Christ, not any politician. And with that being said, there is no way that we are going to act like the proven harm and abuse that Jeffrey Epstein has caused never happened. His victims deserve so much better than that. There is no line to walk when it comes to sex trafficking, especially the exploitation and sex trafficking of minors. Again, it's this right here. This is the future. And to see this, It makes me feel more hopeful than anything I've seen or felt in the past 173 days thus far. Knowing that the world that we're all working towards, the future that we are fighting for, is the world that my daughter will grow up in. And so I'm eternally grateful and indebted to you all, to Charlie Kirk, to Turning Point USA, and I hope to see you guys on your campus later this year. So thank you guys very much. Thank you.